Hello there, and welcome to episode 49 of Cuzzo-Op. I am one of the hosts for this episode, Willie, and as usual, we got my co-host.
What's good? It's IV, aka Isaiah.
Yes, sir. It's kind of crazy that we're at episode 49 of Cuzzo-Op. I feel like the year has gone by so fast and yet so slow. It's amazing. I'm gonna be honest. We're almost at a year, bro.
Yeah, man, I probably will keep bringing this point up, but Cuzzo-Op has absolutely revolutionized the way I consume media. And so you're right. It doesn't feel like a year, but at the same time, in some ways, it does, because it's been super dope to hop here every week, hop on the mic, talk about some piece of media, some piece of TVs, movies, and of course, video games, which is what we're here for tonight, huh?
Yes, sir. We're gonna be dedicating some time to gaming tonight. We're gonna have two parts to this episode, and we're gonna try to make sure that this is the only time we ever do this for our yearly recap. We got a little tight on timing towards the end of last year, and we realized we couldn't really dedicate an entire episode to the Game Awards the way we would typically want to, and so we decided that this year we're just going to do a little bit of a duo episode for the recap of 2023. We're going to have Game Awards cover the first half of our episode, and then we're going to move into our Cuzzo-Op episode. And yeah, man, we just need to have some discussions. Were the Game Awards good? Were they not good? What games do we think deserved it, didn't deserve it? Recapping what our guesses were, and then we're going to head into the disappointments for our own gaming journeys and the excitements and the W's and the L's. So I'm really excited to be diving into this episode. But for the Game Awards section, before we even dive into any of the noms, I feel like there's something I need to get off of my chest, because I might be ripping a little bit of a new one into the Game Awards.
Bro, it's 2024, bro. It's 2024. We got to bring that positive energy into the year. So if you're gonna pop off, you better find a way to make it sexy. Make it sexy. I got some things I negatively actually have to say. But overall, the Game Awards, they are a reflection of where the actual industry is in more ways than one. And so I want to preface with that, set the scene with that. We don't have an E3 anymore. We have a lot of showcases, as we've done several news episodes of in our first season here at Cuzzo-Op in 2023. Go back, listen to those. You'll hear some of our thoughts on where gaming is, but it's definitely been a big year for gaming in 2023. And in light of that, I think it plays a big, big, big role in some of why the Game of the Year awards felt the way that they felt last year. So I'll just say with that, you start. Go ahead, tell me what it is that you hated. Tell me what you think, and then let's jump into these games, my J.
I'm gonna try to keep it quick. The Game Awards this year, for me at least, I don't want to say they were kind of embarrassing to watch, because there is some of the show that I enjoyed and there is some of the show that I didn't enjoy, but I could tell that things were a little bit off. I could tell that they were trying to rush through some things. And unfortunately, by the end of the show, it felt like they were rushing through the wrong bits. It felt like they were pushing their creatives, the people that we are here to celebrate, right, off the stage incredibly fast. Meanwhile, Simu Liu is getting up on stage talking about his gaming journey. Anthony Mackie is on stage making bird noises at the audience for 3 or 4 minutes, and I know that people are stating that there were people in the audience being a certain type of way with Anthony Mackie, and if they were being disrespectful, have them call him out on it. But he was up there for way too long. Simu was up there for way too long. To go online and see videos that in big bold letters they were saying, "Please hurry it up. Please wrap it up," to the people on stage getting their Game of the Year award is crazy. Like, I don't know if Chris Judge scared them last year when he had his 8-minute long speech or something, but this year just felt very extreme. It felt like the creatives were getting up there, They were being handed their trophies and they were like, now get the hell off the stage so we can do our next bit. And I think that's a problem. I think that's actually kind of very disrespectful, especially when you consider the fact that some of these developers didn't even get to go on stage. Like, indie developer of the year didn't get to go on stage. We didn't, if you weren't actually watching the show, if you were just partially watching it and doing something else, you would have never realized who would have won some of these awards because they just did not bring them up on stage. Meanwhile, they were giving some, every award is important, but some of the not industry related awards were getting more time to speak than people actually in the industry. That's kind of crazy. I think that's kind of wild. Like, why are we focusing so much on some things that arguably do not matter nearly as much as what we're here to celebrate? Some would argue, and I would low-key feel the same way about this year, that maybe it was trying a little bit too hard to replace E3. But, like, Jeff, the dude who be running the show for the Game Awards, he's cool. I noticed that he said that he realized that they were rushing people off and he tried to slow it down. But I just think that it wasn't nearly as enough that people were going to be feeling respected. I'm sure that there are many people who probably feel very disrespected. We've seen some people cry out saying that that night was kind of a mess. And, I just think that if for 2024's Game Awards, if they could focus less on the bits, I'm not saying to drop the world trailers and the world premiere trailers and stuff, but just if you find a right tempo to be including both them and the people that we are actually there to celebrate and the year we're actually there to celebrate, then I feel like there could be a good thing there. I don't think their headspace was in the right focus area for the 2023 Game Awards, bro.
I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. I mean, it's Cuzzo-Op, but I think I agree with you in like 15-20% of your stance, but there's another 80% of me that's like, I don't know, man. So like what I agree with you on is yeah, man, it's unfortunate that these developers don't get the room to be able to talk their shit and say, hey, listen, we worked hard on this. So glad for this award, and thank the people they feel they need to thank, and even get some shots off if they need to. Like, yes, 100%. But there's a couple, like, just logistically, I think we have to look at the logistics of this event. In total, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. There's almost 30 awards given at this award show, if not 30. Most award shows don't have 30 awards, just being honest with you. If you watch the VMAs, if you watch the Oscars, if you watch those shows have run times of no more than 3 hours. This show was like 4 hours if you include the pre-show. And so I think they have so much that they're trying to jam pack into one show that there's going to be somebody slighted somewhere, right? The thing I also look at is, you're right, it shouldn't be the new E3. Maybe we need a Winter Games Fest that should go and coincide and maybe be sponsored by the Game of the Year Awards. But part of what I think that they bring these celebrities around for is the concept of visibility into gaming. The concept of gaming needs to be respected. And so in terms of embarrassment, I can understand in terms of rushing these people off and it not being right. But I've seen takes that I also agree with in the sense of let the gameplay speak for itself. Let the games speak for themselves in certain ways. Cut down the time on presentations like OD. Cut down on the times of, celebrity speeches being senseless, yes, but there's always going to be somebody who has something cut short. And so I asked you if you think it will change, because I don't think it will. I think they're trying to fit so much into one show, and it's so heinously long that it's just like you can only get what you can get sometimes. And I think the gaming community, all love and respect as a person that's a part of this community, but there's always something we're complaining about. There's always something everybody wants to freaking hate. Everybody wants to make memes about. Everybody wants to talk shit about. And to me, it's like, you're not going to be pleased no matter what's done by Jeff or the team. And they have a lot of hard decisions they have to make themselves. You know what I mean? And so I just want to show a lot of love to the developers that felt maybe they were overlooked or pushed aside or not really shown the love that they deserve. I really do hope E3 comes back, or there is some way that, there's a schedule set where we get maybe a Winter Games Fest, to talk more about the gameplay, but I do like the part of the show that does show the new gameplay. As much as I don't like as much as as just being honest, I don't watch this for the speeches. I don't watch it at all because quite frankly, bro, and this is gonna sound heinous, they're awkward AF up on those stages. These guys who sit in front of desks, I would argue that a lot of them, as much as it's a big moment for them and they deserve that moment, probably freaking hate that moment of having to stand up there in front of a bunch of people to accept an award on so and so's behalf or on their team's behalf. Voice actors, guys who are really in this business, maybe it's different, but you could tell the awkward cats from the others. Like Homegirl was supposed to say something, but the guy spoke so long and didn't pass it to her. And then the music started playing, so she had to kind of like yell what she was going to say. This was like one of the first awards of the evening. It's just, I don't know, bro. I have a lot of thoughts. I think that there's a happy balance somewhere between gameplay and world premieres, as well as making these awards more respected than just Jeff reading them off back to back to back. I don't know what it looks like, but they're going to have to innovate. They're going to have to innovate to create something different than what other award shows look like and what these last ones have looked like as time goes on. And so, like, if I had to give a rating to the Game of the Year awards, I told Willie it was decent. It was a decent award show. You know what I mean? Saw some stuff that excited me. Saw some games win that I thought deserved. Saw other games kind of steal the show in a way that I was like, hey. And I saw some snubs that were like, whoa. And whether Jeff was reading it off or it was actually shared on stage, when they got to that last part where they play all the songs and they do all the scores from the different games that are nominated for Game of the Year, it's always epic. It's always monumental. I love that moment.
Bro, it's celebratory. And that's what most of this show was honestly not. Yeah, we look to the future. We're supposed to be happy for the future, but why are we looking at a game that drops in 2027 at the Game Awards 2023? Why is Blade showing anything off if it's not coming out for 4 years? That's time that could have been diverted somewhere else. Why do we have some of these, and I know I said it already, but some of these other awards that are questionably, like, why are you getting time at this ceremony and then cutting off actual developers? Why are we doing that? What's going on here? Like, we need to make something else work because I feel like I shouldn't even be watching you right now. All due respect.
I agree. Or you let Homegirl from IGN for the Daily Fix, shorty, I forgot her name. Olivia? No. What's her name? Forgot her name. You let her read them off in the pre-show, the same way that they were doing it there. Content creator. I think there were certain ones that were supposed to be there that were there, but there are a couple that Jeff read that I don't think he needed to read. I think if they take about 10 of the awards, maybe condense them down to 10.
I mean, looking at the Game Award list in front of me, I could give you an easy 6 or 7 that you could just read off before the show. You could just post the conversations that some of the winners have online. You don't need to have it be a part of the show. You could put that online. Not developers, though. We shouldn't be sacrificing the developers for content creators and stuff, low key. But I also feel like we could have condensed some of the world premieres down, bro. I don't know about you, but like after the 5th or 6th back-to-back world premiere of a Japanese RPG, number 1, I just got lost on what was what. And number 2, I kind of stopped caring about the world premieres after seeing 5 super similar games go back to back to back to back to back without an award being read in the middle.
Yeah, I actually agree with you. I like the 2-day concept. That would be sick. If they did a 2-day where they kept the awards on one day and all of the premieres on an additional day, I think the viewership would go down, but I think the sponsorship opportunities, which is why we get all these ads and these commercials, this is money. You know what I mean? Remember, Jeff created this with his bare hands, bro. This didn't exist and then it existed. So that's part of like...
Sorry to cut you off, but like that's why I will always respect what Jeff has brought. I know that he built this from his bare hands. I know that he has molded this to be what it is, which is why I know he's always looking for ways to make it better and improve, And again, one of my biggest suggestions, bro, is we don't need Simu Liu and Anthony Mackie on the stage. I understand Anthony Mackie had Twisted Metal drop, but that doesn't mean he needs to be on stage for 5 minutes just to present an award. You could go up there, tell a joke, and then read the award. We don't need to see you up there for 5 minutes. Matthew McConaughey popping out on stage to talk about a game that he's actually a part of. I'll take that. If an actor is coming in to step into a role of this realm and he's going to get up there and honor the realm that he is stepping into, you could do that. I could respect that move.
Yeah, the whole bringing celebrities out just to talk about, nonsense with no association to what they're sharing is weird to me. I would very much like it if they just had it on the previous year's winners coming up and present the award, something like that. Keep it in house, But again, bro, like I said, this is part of what's happening. It's like, how do you rally and say that video gaming needs to be respected by allowing, figures from other mediums of entertainment into a space like this to give their stamp of approval, to get the look from people that you may not get the look from otherwise, without sacrificing the heart and the soul of what it means to be a gamer and a part of the gaming community. That's the battle they're always going to have. That's why I think a 2-day concept is cool. Something to figure out how to feed both at the same time.
Look, here's the last thing I'll bring to this conversation, man. I feel that if we need to be bringing outside actors, if we really desperately want this stamp of approval from the public, that we need to be bringing in outside actors that don't fit in with the community, bro, we lost, truly. If we are so desperate for the approval of everybody in society, man, that we need to be giving up time from the people that actually make our industry special and what the industry is, we lost. We lost, man. Let's go over some of these winners now, bro. Let's talk about you and I's guesses. I know that we kind of had a little bit of a guess sheet that we wrote our ideas down on. We had an episode where we verbally stated some of our guesses out loud. So how are we feeling about that?
I caught a couple W's, but I also caught a couple L's.
I mean, I did also, bro. So let's just go through this list. We're going to start off with most anticipated game. You and I, we kind of both stated verbally what we thought the winner would be. But then when you put your foot down for what actually won, I went opposite of you just to be a little bit different, just to spice it up. But the winner was obviously Final Fantasy.
Yeah, bro, it's a big deal. It's going to always be a staple of gaming, man. We'll talk about 16 in a second.
All right, well, to move forward, we have Best Adaptation, and it went to, you and I both picked it, The Last of Us. I honestly believe this one was the only one destined to win.
I mean, if you haven't listened to our The Last of Us episode for the TV show, definitely go back. Can't remember what episode it was. I think it was somewhere in the 20s or 30s, but definitely got to go back and listen to that episode. Show is just so fantastic, man. It's the first live action adaptation of a game that was done right, done well, that made it complemented the game, and the game complements the show. So I'm happy they caught this W.
Hey, go tap into episode 7 of Cuzzo-Op, where we talked about The Last of Us. Up next, we got Best Sports Racing Game, and it went to Forza. We both knew it was going to Forza. I feel like, and I don't know if anything else could have won. The Crew? Any Crew fans?
Hell no, it's not The Crew. Stop.
Hey, I don't play those games, bro, so I don't know. Up next, we got Best Family Game. And I mean, I didn't play it, but we both knew it was going to Mario. It's Mario. How could it not go to Mario?
I've been playing the game since last month, and honestly, man, it is, in terms of being different and putting money toward the animation of the game, some of the smartest decision that Nintendo has made. It feels like an old game while still looking like a brand new game, and that's the magic and the allure of it. So, I mean, you see Mario on a category, he's catching this W, bro. Let's be real.
All right, well, up next we got Best Fighting Game, and we agreed that it was between Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter, and we were kind of leaning towards Mortal Kombat, but Street Fighter won. And I mean, if you really think about the fighting games that have been a staple in the gaming community for the last 2 decades plus, it's them too. And I'm not mad at the Street Fighter pick.
Me either. Those are the 2 biggies. I mean, the rest, respect to the rest, but they weren't going to compete with these 2 legends. They've been here so long. But yeah, I think it's also the amount of people that play Street Fighter. It's It's a widely played, globally played game. Not that Mortal Kombat isn't, but Street Fighter, it's definitely been here for a very long time. Uh, I know that Asian, Chinese, that like Eastern side of the hemisphere, that Street Fighter is the game of choice over there. Mortal Kombat is more of a Western thing.
Okay, well, up next we're gonna cover best action adventure game, and I think you and I we both picked this right. Um, I didn't even play this game, but I feel like this answer just makes sense. It went to Zelda. It went to The Legend of Zelda. I know that some people wanted some other games in this category to win, but I mean, reading the description and all, I feel like this one just makes sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, I voted for it, but I didn't want it to win. I voted because I knew it was the right vote. It's crazy, man. Nintendo comes out and wins something every single year, even though I think in this console war, they're lagging behind, respectfully, in my opinion. So I think like in terms of what it can do, it's insane that they come out and they show out with these amazing games that have been legendary. Zelda, Link, Mario. It's crazy.
I don't know if I would put them at last. I might put them at second, bro. I would probably put them at second. When Nintendo sticks to what they are good at and what their system is optimized for, I think they be dropping crazier hits than what I actually think is in third. And if you've listened to Cuzzo-Op, you know that it's not PlayStation that's in third. But yeah, man, when Nintendo be doing some weird stuff, when they be dropping that Mortal Kombat 1 on their system, then I'm like, damn, you kind of in the dirt right now. Like, stop dropping Arkham trilogies and MK1s on your system. It just can't compete, bro.
Nah, and nobody's paying for that Arkham trilogy on the Switch. You're bugging out. But hey, listen, I also do want to mention this is the first. Speaking of Arkham, this is the first moment as we go through these that Spider-Man 2 makes an appearance on the nomination list. And I think that this is an interesting piece that we have to talk about as we talk about 2023. I know we talked about it in our episode, but woo, interesting. Keep going, bro.
All right, well, to move forward, we got just best action game, and it went to Armored Core 4. I have no idea what this is, but everyone online seems to agree that this was the right choice. So, congrats.
Yeah, bro, I don't really have too much of a comment on that other than this has been here for a minute. I mean, all the other games that are there outside of Hi-Fi Rush, are sequels, but they're sequels of games that were, niche games. They're niche games. Even Dead Island was a niche thing at once upon a time. But Armored Core is on his sixth game, dog. Sixth game. That's crazy.
All right, well, up next, we got best debut indie game, which was Cocoon. A lot of people didn't think this one was going to win. In fact, every list that I saw online had this game at like the bottom. So I'm kind of excited because if it managed to get on and win the award, I got to go play this. And then we have best independent game, which went to Sea of Stars. Now, you would be forgiven for not knowing that either of these games won. Even though Cocoon had some time, Sea of Stars was just read off the screen. So, yeah, I'm excited to play this one also. I think I even own this game, and I never got around to it. So, you got anything you want to say to either of these?
Yeah, bro, I freaking love Sea of Stars. I took a work trip to Greece, and before I left, I bought it on Switch and played it on the 13-hour flight. And it's got all the old like. You remember when the Dragon Ball Z games used to be like camera over the top with the sprites, and you used to like fight as these little animated characters? Like, it's got like the old age of Game Boy Advance games like vibe, but they brought it to a modern field. It's turn-based combat. The story is great. It's not like anything super intense, but it's like a beautiful story. It's just great, man. I love that they paid homage to what came before it, and it deserves to get this W. Happy for them.
All right, well, let's move on to best ongoing game. Now, I know you and I have had a discussion about how we feel about this category. We both kind of felt surprised by the nominations on the list. Some of it felt a bit weird. And the winner of this award was Cyberpunk 2077. Now, I've had discussions online. I've had people come to me and tell me why they think it should be in this category and why it shouldn't be in this category. And I've had a lot of interesting discussions, and it's it's come to the point where the decision is basically, does this game deserve to be considered ongoing if for the last 2.5 ish years of the 3.5 years that they've been kind of getting their shit together was them getting their shit together because they dropped a crappy product? Do they deserve to count towards ongoing game if all they were really doing for half of the time was fixing a game that should have dropped in the condition that it hit in year two? I don't know, man. I think there have been great points made on both sides, but I think when you look at all of the other options in the category itself, you recognize that this game is a little bit too different. And I think I've fallen to the side that has felt that maybe this game did not deserve to be in this category.
Well, that sucks for that side, because over on this side, we are watching in real time. Like, don't get me wrong, bro. I think if there's anybody who should have won this, it's Fortnite. But Beyonce the best of all time. Nah, but look, I'm just saying, like, I look at Cyberpunk 2077, it was the biggest fold in gaming history. It ripped the roof off of gaming in 2020 with its failure of launch. And to see them lick their wounds and stand 10 toes for the last 3 years and then release Phantom Liberty this year, bro, the game feels so different. It's not even the same game in some ways, man. And you can say whatever you want. They should have released it like that. They should have released it like that. The same people saying they should have released it like that are the same people who were bitching and moaning that it was taking too long. And this is the concept of gaming that we see all over the place. Crunch, rush, why are games half-assed? This has existed a number of times in 2023. In light of that, Cyberpunk 2077, I'm happy that you usurped the entire vibe of this whole nomination list by winning this award. And CD Projekt Red, I know that there's respect that's due to your name. Witcher 3 is my favorite video game of all time.
Which is why I feel like you're fighting for this game very hard. You always have been, and that's the thing. You've always fought for this game hard, and I think it's because of your love for Witcher.
Nah, it's not just that. It's not just that, bro. I'm actually like currently knee deep in the game right now still. And bro, it's just like, bro, like for all the people who love RPGs, Baldur's Gate, we're gonna talk about that. I think the writing in Cyberpunk 2077 is top notch. Some of the top notch writing I've ever seen, and execution wise with a game now that it's at where it's supposed to be. If it had been at that, we would have never even been questioning this. I don't even think there would even be any discussions about this. It would have been one of the greatest games ever. But it made itself that, and before our eyes. It's like going to Benihana's where they cook the food in front of you. You know, we've watched them be transparent for the last 3 years as they cook up and get the anime show, and they keep. There's a lot of things going on in this universe that I respect. So,
I mean, look, if they've turned their game around, I'm happy for them. But this game never gave out ongoing game to me. DLC, sure, but ongoing, I don't see ongoing as just the one DLC pack, you know? I don't see ongoing as we messed up a few years ago and we've spent a few years fixing it. To me, this feels like the Jamie Lee Curtis Oscar. This feels like you fucked up in 2020 and you couldn't get Game of the Year then, so we're going to give you a Game of the Year award now because of your mistake in 2020. It feels like Jamie Lee Curtis was at almost the end of her career and they needed to give her an Oscar over the other options, which were better. That's just my take on this award. You know, I'm going to play Cyberpunk. I am gonna. All right? It feels weird to me. Let's move on to Best Audio Design. We both were going for Alan Wake. We both made good points as to why it could have been Alan Wake, but I'm not mad at the winner because it makes sense. Hi-Fi Rush.
yeah, like if I stopped to ponder for like a little bit longer, I probably would have voted for Hi-Fi Rush. And yeah, man, it's like a modern day Jet Set Radio. Like the game is literally every move is based out of rhythm. You're literally moving and combat's going on in the game based on beats. It's like Edgar Wright films, you know what I mean, where the movie scenes and combat scenes are mapped to the audio and soundtrack behind it. They did that literally to a T in this game. It's literal perfection. It's almost like the audio is the action. So it deserves it. It deserves it. It deserves it. It deserves it. But yet again, Resident Evil 4, Dead Space, Alan Wake 2, you'll get your licks. Spider-Man 2 caught the snub again on this bad boy.
But it's not a snub though, bro.
I'm just saying it didn't catch a W here. I think it's a snub being that as we keep going, we're going to find Spider-Man 2 didn't get a single award the whole night.
Hey, I mean, maybe Spider-Man 2 ain't deserve it all like that, you know? Is it really a snub? Up next, we got sound and score going to Final Fantasy. You know, I can't speak to this, but I'm sure it deserved it.
Hey, listen, man. I played the demo. I didn't play the game. I'll be absolutely honest with you. And the demo, just a demo. It's like 3 hours long. Breathtaking. Combat system, fire. But the music, right from the beginning, when it opens to every scene you see in the game, it's like a movie. It's so beautiful, you know? They do this, man. They've been doing this. So a lot of love for them for that. Respect.
All right. Well, up next, we had Best Art Direction, which it went to Alan Wake 2, bro. And looking at the list, I don't know if I thought anything here was going to beat it other than like Hi-Fi Rush. But Alan Wake 2 took it. Congrats.
Honestly, man, I'm knee deep in this one too, and I'm only taking my time because I'm a wuss. But dude, it's just these guys, man. These guys are different. Remedy Games, you know, they've consistently shown they think differently than the industry and that they're willing to lean into their own unique innovation. And I think that's what gets them the W on this. They're unique. They're unlike any other game. There's so much of a universe that they've leaned into their uniqueness so much and enough that they can make references and callbacks to their own games. And it's just really cool to see how they blend live action art with the actual game. And they tie it together seamlessly. So congratulations to them. They very much deserve that.
All right. Well, up next, we've got Best Narrative, and it went to Alan Wake 2. And I think you and I both thought, amongst all the other awards, that it was going to Baldur's Gate, but it didn't. It went to Alan Wake 2, and I haven't played either of them, so I have to ask you, since you've played both, how are you feeling about this?
So I was surprised by this. I'll be absolutely honest, because when I think of narrative, which read the brief description of what a narrative is.
For outstanding storytelling and narrative development in a game.
Yeah, man. The whole RPG element of Baldur's Gate 3 is the fact that in the first five minutes, not even, first hour of Baldur's Gate 3, you can decide to save someone, spare them. And then 40 hours later, that person pops back up and they help you in some way. And you forgot about them. And you're like, oh, shoot. In the first hour of the game, I helped this person. That's sick writing. That's sick narrative. That's sick story. So to me, it's just like, I don't know how they didn't get the love for this. But when I think of the fact that, again, Alan Wake has never been afraid to be different. You know, Baldur's Gate was a mammoth of a game. It was a behemoth of a game in terms of innovation in regards to RPG elements and storytelling and all of that. But I guess the gaming community sees that as a niche concept because there are still so many people who don't understand why Baldur's Gate got so many awards, including the Game of the Year award. And I suppose some people in the crowd that doesn't understand it, they showed love to Alan Wake 2 because Alan Wake's been around since 360. Alan Wake has been a part of Remedy, which has been both on Xbox and PS. So I think there's a lot of those factors behind the scenes that add to why this game caught the award, in my opinion. But I still think Baldur should have took it.
Well, I mean, Alan Wake 2 also beat out Baldur's Gate and a few other games for Best Game Direction.
Same thing, man. I mean, uniqueness, respect the uniqueness. There's other games on this list that, I mean, Zelda, I can understand why they didn't get it. I mean, it is a little bit of a copy and paste. They did innovate on systems, but it's a little bit of a copy and paste. Let's be realistic. Wonder is the same old Mario dynamic, but the direction of the art, that's where it's like, I'm surprised they didn't compete a little bit more in the art direction conversation. So it's like, ooh, that's interesting. But Spider-Man 2, bro, it's an L for y'all boys over there, Insomniac, man, for real. Shout out to Alan Wake, man. Y'all came in here, y'all did your thing. You came last year and you showed love to this game. You did your little, hey, our game's coming. It was literally a year ago that we saw them announce this. show the gameplay trailer, and have them stand up on stage, talk about it. And look, a year's time, they caught the bag on these. They kind of secretly stole the show in that regard. They competed. They were competitors. We got to play it. If you haven't played it, play it, and then we can have this conversation.
Well, all right. Let's move into the big bang, the finale. And I know it's 6 awards, but the same game won 6 awards. So I'm just gonna hit them all right now. Community support, Baldur's Gate 3. Role-playing game, Baldur's Gate 3. Multiplayer game, Baldur's Gate 3. Player's voice, Baldur's Gate 3. Performance, Neil Newbon, Baldur's Gate 3. And Game of the Year award, Baldur's Gate 3. A lot of awards. I know there might be an argument, maybe, for only one of these categories to go to someone else. But overall, Baldur's Gate 3 doing what we pretty much expected them to do at the Game Awards and show up big. Alan Wake 2 turned up, but Baldur's Gate 3, they did things. They did things. And congrats to them, man. You know, there's a lot of angry Spider-Man fans out there in the world, and people are gonna say, "Oh, what are you against Spider-Man so much?" I'm not, but I'm against the fans that are out here crying, claiming that it deserved Game of the Year. It didn't. It didn't. There's only one category here where it would arguably could have gone to it, but maybe you just need to open your eyes. I know we've all waited for years for Spider-Man 2, but that doesn't mean that it was good enough to compete. Because in my opinion, it really wasn't in many of these categories. But shout outs Baldur's Gate 3, bro.
Yeah, man. The Spider-Man thing we'll talk in a sec, but listen, I agree with you. You break it down well with the Neil Newbon. This would be the only spot where I would argue that I voted for Yuri, but Cameron Monaghan could have taken this as well. He could have also taken it. You know, I think out of sight, out of mind is a very real thing in the Game Awards, whether you want to admit it or not. If you look, a lot of these games that won awards dropped in the last 6 months of the year, not the first 6. It's worth noting. But it's an award he deserves because of how much his performance. I just, at the same time, Astarion's great. Don't get me wrong, but like Astarion is one of like 6 different characters that are there with you from the beginning of the game. So it's like for him to be the only one that is nominated, and then to win, I don't know. I feel a little bit about that, and I felt that when I watched the show. But at the end of the day, man, whatever, we'll give it to him. Otherwise, you know, when it comes to this game winning, I know you haven't played the game. This game is literally this year, when it comes to these games, it was about being innovative and it was about being unique. And that's one thing I have to show love for gaming this year in 2023. It was a year of innovation. It was a year of trying new things and putting new things out. Alan Wake 2 was a sequel, but it was a reimagining of the 360 game, and it brought a lot of horror elements. And that is insane for it to win as many awards as it's won, even though it can technically be put in the genre of a horror game in some regards, the suspense horror thriller type of style. It's innovative, man. It's fresh. It's new. It's something that pushes gaming forward a little bit with class. And same with Baldur's Gate, man. Baldur's Gate, I've seen so many conversations, people saying this game broke developing because now us as gamers are going to be spoiled thinking, why can't a game be deeply developed the way this game was? Look, it's a titan. It's a titan because of how long Larian took time to work on this. But I'm not going to discredit them in any way, shape, or form. It's a once in a lifetime moment, in my opinion, of gaming that we got to experience this year. And therefore it deserves the Game of the Year award. And that's end of discussion, in my opinion. The Spider-Man 2 haters that are wondering why the game wasn't innovative enough. You want to hear our thoughts? Go back and listen to our episode. You throw some wingsuits and put some characters we've seen before into a game and throw some Ratchet and Clank mechanics into your game. It is not going to make me think your game is innovative. The first mission of your game being the most monumental and climactic moment and highly performing moment from the system itself. And then everything from there is kind of a downhill. It's not innovative. It doesn't push the bar. all the other games pushed the bar. That's why they were nominated, and that's why they walked away with awards this year. And so I'm happy with who's won. I don't have any I'm not upset in any way, shape, or form about any of the games that won. I think they all deserve it.
All right, well, let's move forward to the Cuzzo-Op section of this episode, the looking back on 2023 gaming. For me, I think 2023 will go down in the history books as a 2013 of gaming, a 2018 of gaming, a 2020 of gaming. I think it was a very solid year. It feels like there was something almost in every month that was holding it down, whether it be big games or small games. I think that this year was very, I don't want to say legendary, but it's memorable. There are some big heavy hitters in this year, and I think that there are disappointments also, but there are years where it's easy to forget, damn, gaming even existed in that year, like 2019. Hello? Like, all respect to the games that dropped that year, but it just doesn't strike you as much as 2018. And this year was like that, bro. It was exciting, full of highs and lows.
Yeah, man, I think that's really well said. I think, man, 2013, bro. 2013 was a crazy year in gaming. And to think that we had a duplicate or almost like an echo of a year in a decade later, and to think I've been gaming for so long is crazy. This was one of those years which just made me proud to be a gamer. Played so many fun games this year. Bought more games, I think, this year than I've ever bought in years past on a variety of different systems. It makes me glad to have an Xbox Series S. It makes me glad to have a PlayStation 5. It makes me glad to have a Nintendo Switch, to not have to have anything slip through the cracks, that I can experience it all. Not saying I played the crap out of all of them, but I did play enough this year to know there are a lot of ways that we push the genre forward. And then there are some tropes, some concepts that were revealed in gaming that I think needed to be revealed for us to not go that path again and to not go that way again. And I'm interested to see what's to come. I think this was a turning point for us, in my opinion.
I mean, like you said, bro, we be using the word renaissance. This year it was a good turning point, and we're in the renaissance. We hope, at least. But I'm gonna start our looking back at 2023 at some of the, for lack of a better term, the bad and the ugly. We said that there were some great games, but there were also some horrific things to drop this year. And my first category, my first game is going to be Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. Now, I've been having fun on Modern Warfare 3, specifically on Meat 24/7. I know that sounds crazy, but it's the name of the game mode, I've been having a lot of fun on that particular mode. I feel like it is better than Shipment or Rust or any of those old Modern Warfare maps, just because of the fact that I feel like it's built for the way that fans and players play Call of Duty nowadays. Some of the older maps are not built for the way that COD fans play nowadays. But Modern Warfare 3, I have a problem, and it's the fact that this game is what you describe. Another game that we're going to get to talking about later is, this feels very much like a here you go game. And we know that that's exactly what it was. The development time was short. It was rushed. The campaign was lackluster. The gunplay in the multiplayer, it's cool, but it's not as good as some of the previous versions of Call of Duty. And the zombies is atrocious. The entire game, it's fun for me, more so because I didn't buy MW2. But this is a $70 game that should not exist. This should be a $30 DLC for MW2. I'm going to be honest. It's ridiculous that people had to pay this money to play this game if they bought MW2. I'm okay, like I said, because I ain't buy MW2. I don't buy COD yearly, but if somebody were to buy COD yearly, number one, I would say, why haven't you stopped yet? It's kind of ridiculous. You're the reason why they're able to continue doing what they're doing. But on the other hand, damn, you got played. That's how I feel about MW3. But to move on, let's go into some of the smaller bad uglies for me. The Lord of the Rings Gollum. I don't play these games. I haven't seen the movies in years. that game looked ass. It did. It looked bad. Avatar: The Last Airbender: The Quest for Balance. We know that the studio behind this game and Nickelodeon or whatever, whoever was in charge here, they didn't give the game money. It's been known. They make low budget games. You look at it, you can tell it's a low budget game. It's sad that we're getting Avatar games like this in the year 2023. We deserved a Dragon Ball Kakarot game for the Avatar world a long time ago. However, something inside of me, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the scratch itching for nostalgia based on the way old Avatar games used to be. I kind of get excited when I see gameplay of this. Not because it looks exciting, just because I feel like it will remind me of the older Avatar games that I don't have access to anymore. But I'm not paying the money that this game costs. You got me fucked up if you think I'm gonna be buying that shit. I'm not doing that, bro. Skull Island: The Rise of Kong. I don't know if you've seen that. That's just part of the ugly category. All due respect, that shit is ugly. The Walking Dead Destinies is a game that tries to play on your love for The Walking Dead. They want you to go in and play these fun what if stories. However, the game is ugly. The voice acting is ugly. And from what I've seen, it's not well done at all, bro. The what if scenarios are just kind of ass. And it's kind of sad for me to say that some people that are actually on The Walking Dead ended up participating in the making of that game. It's not good. It's not good. Will I get it on sale or free? Sure. And when I say on sale, I mean $5 or less. I'm not paying anything more for that game. As much as I love The Walking Dead. But damn, the biggest failure in gaming this year, the day before. This joint, since day one, it looked like a Last of Us ripoff, Division ripoff, even down to the font. And wouldn't you know it, within less than a week of that game dropping, it shut the studio down because they were nothing but a bunch of false promises and thievery from other companies. So that is a not a rest in peace, but a rest in piss for gaming. 2023, bro. For me, you got anything that you wish to discuss for these again, lack of a better term, the bad and the ugly categories?
Man, I guess I don't have as many disappointments as you, bro. I'll be absolutely honest. The fact that Hogwarts Legacy didn't make its way into any nominations for the Game Awards, I think is kind of crazy. And I guess it makes me wonder if I'm bugging because I enjoyed that game. It might be because it feels like Witcher in some senses, I'll be honest. But I liked it. I thought it was a good game. So I guess it sucks that fell short. I agree with you on the Call of Duty thing, man. I just think paying as much money as you are for some DLC. Here's what I would respect from Call of Duty if they did instead. The Fortnite route. If they just admit that they're not a game anymore and they want to make their own Call of Duty platform and call it a platform and then give access like the way Xbox or gamers are able to experience all of the games, maybe give access to them via a portal that they lock into that they can then play Modern Warfare 2 or go back to Black Ops. Like that would be really cool if they were able to do that. I'm sure licensing, the console war, different things that get in the way of that stop them from that. But paying $70 for a whole game that's definitely just DLC, unfortunate. It took them about a month and change just to release maps that are brand new, that aren't from Modern Warfare 2. Not to mention, a lot of these Modern Warfare 2 maps aren't that good, man. Back in the day, they were good. But in this day and age where the speed is different, the TTK looks different, it's very frustrating. And the players are different. The frustrations are very much there. And so don't have a lot of respect for them doing that. But at the end of the day, man, it's gaming. That's how it's going to be. I would say that's definitely one of the L's for the year for me. And I had one more L. Oh, if you haven't listened yet, our Assassin's Creed Mirage episode is out now. That was also one of the L's for me this year, my opinion. Assassin's Creed has a space in gaming right now. It never won't. It's a staple. I just think Ubisoft doesn't use it right. Still don't. And so, you know, maybe I'm the only one with that opinion. I don't necessarily think so. The majority of the people I've seen with reviews on this particular game are in the same lane as me, but I hope they wake up in 2024 and they do something fantastic with the different installations that they're bringing forward. That would be really good, in my opinion. Bro, Diablo 4 was so ass, bro. Diablo 4 was so ass. Me and the gang, bro. Gang and I bought the game. I can't say we played it more than a week. And that was after playing the beta. And there's a reason why it also didn't pop up on any of the award lists whatsoever this year. Disappointing, bro. And it's Diablo. Like, I lied. It was on the multiplayer list, so I'll take that back. But nonetheless, it wasn't anywhere else. Diablo is supposed to be one of those staple RPG experiences, and this year they folded. They didn't bring their A game to the field, and they didn't do enough community support amidst the process. Not enough was offered, a lot of lies, smoke and mirrors, and everybody felt it. And as soon as they felt it, the volatile nature of the gaming community via Twitter and Discord and Reddit, we just ripped the game apart. Ripped it apart. So that was a disappointing point this summer for me too. And I'd say that's basically it for L's this year. For me, it's predominantly W's. A lot of W's this year.
All right. Well, I mean, I'm gonna move into the okay. All right, I had fun category. You know, for you, you have Assassin's Creed on your L list, and you talking about the whole majority of people thing, and that's because you be looking at a weird majority of people who be hating. You be a hater, low key. You be a hater. The people that were essentially who this game was being made for, the people, the Assassin's Creed fan base that's been kind of tired, more or less, I've seen that the fans that have stuck through the series, through this mud and shit, feel like this game is in a step in the right direction. Assassin's Creed Mirage is a step in the right direction for the franchise. It's not the full Assassin's Creed experience that maybe you remember having 10 years ago that you maybe have wanted. And that's fair if you didn't like it, you know. I just feel like as someone who has stuck through the franchise, Mirage was an okay, fun experience. It's the most Assassin's Creed game I feel like I've played since Origins dropped 7 years ago at this point. You know, and even before that, 2015 with Unity, or even 14 with Unity. That's when Unity actually freaking dropped. So like, Assassin's Creed Mirage just feels like a step in the right direction, but nothing too crazy. And you know, I think that you know, the game I'm about to mention, it's great. But unfortunately it didn't impact me as hard as some of my other games that I've played this year. It didn't give me as many memorable moments as some of the other games I'm going to talk about, where I'm going to put Spider-Man 2 in this okay, it was fun category. Like with these two games, you know, we have episodes out on them, so you can go hear my thoughts there. For me, I've played them, and I don't want to say I'm ready to leave them in 2023, but I'm packing it up for now. That's it. They made it onto my playlist. I played them, I enjoyed it, and that's it. You know, they're dropping new game pluses for these games in 2024, or they're doing these new things. But like, I wanted to do that when I played the game for the first time. I wanted to jump right into new game plus. I was feeling that energy. I don't feel that anymore. Maybe if Spider-Man drops DLC, maybe I'll be into it, but I'm not just going to be picking these games up to play at a random time, unless I want to swing in Spider-Man, but still, it's not, it didn't hit those levels for me where I'm like raving about it like that.
One thing I will say in terms of my okay list this year is, you know, back in 2022, Riders Republic came out from Ubisoft. And you know, it was a fun game filled with BMX opportunities, skiing, snowboarding opportunities. They left a lot to be desired in regards to like private lobbies where you can play with just your friends and just have fun skating or, you know, biking or whatever you're doing. But this year they brought the skateboard to the game. And I'm big on skateboarding games. I'm waiting for Skate 4, what they're just calling Skate, to have an open beta for us to play on our systems and not just on PC. But Riders Republic saw a little gap, and they filled it. And I think they filled it in a way that's fun. And so I want to tip my hat to them this year. It doesn't technically count as a game for this year, but it does count as a DLC pack. And if Cyberpunk 2077 could be nominated for ongoing this year, then I got to give some ongoing love to Riders for what they did this year. I'll definitely put that in the okay category. Yeah, I also got to show love to Sifu, man, and the love it's shown to its community and its dedicated fan base this year in 2023. They've added arenas, they've added challenges, new skins, and they've released their final pack over the summer. So it's cool to see that game's been added to. Every once in a while, I've been slipping back in there to get a couple fights off, grab a couple points. And I like games like that. I like games that have life, regardless of if you're definitely diving into it for a long amount of time. You can just pop back in and catch the feel for a couple of seconds because what they created in there was so special. So tipping my hat to them in that category this year as well.
All right. Well, to dive into the oh my God, I love this like highs of the year. For me, bro, I'm going to dive right into my favorite single player full story experience that released in 2023, and that is Star Wars Jedi Survivor. I needed to wait for the year, drop all the games, play all the games that I needed to get around to playing, and then I need to do some reflection. And I found that Jedi Survivor was my favorite game that released this year, but it wasn't my favorite single player narrative experience of the year. It just so happens to be the one that released in 2023 as a full game. I love Jedi Survivor. We got a whole episode out about it. Yeah, I think it's safe to say that was the one for me. How about you?
Man, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, we got an episode out on that as well, lined up within our season 1 episodes. And we talked about what we loved about the game. There was some issues. It's not that there wasn't, but man, when I tell you I'm excited to hear they're getting ramped up for the third game's production and writing and what it's going to look like, very excited for that because this year's game of the year for me was definitely that. That was my favorite gaming experience. There's nothing better than running around as a Jedi you customize to dress up as, looking badass, figuring out a stance you want to use for each fight, figuring out how you want to make your mark as a Jedi in the universe. Lightsaber combat, crispy. Even the addition of the pistol combat, crispy. Just so many different things that they did really well. Performance-wise, could have been better. Wish it was. But somehow, even with those performance issues, the game left a mark on me. I remember every piece of the story, what it felt like to watch these characters go through what they went through. And so as I'm now in 2024, that game is the game that still is up there for me. Now, I do still have to finish Alan Wake 2. I still haven't finished Baldur's Gate 3. I'll be absolutely honest about that. But those are massive games, and they take time to go into. So as of right now, that's my deemed game for 2023. And I don't know if I'll see that change, if I'm honest.
I mean, yeah, I understand that. It is my game of the year for 2023, but if we were to dive deeper, right? God of War Valhalla dropped towards the very, very end of last year, and it was my favorite gaming experience of 2023. I think Santa Monica Studios, the writers, and everyone cooked. I think they told a very deeply emotional story that you couldn't have without the other 7 games in the series, right? But they managed to take a free DLC for their game and make it something that I would have easily spent $20 on. They told a narrative that was full of heart and callbacks, but not cheap callbacks. You needed to feel those callbacks out. Like, I'm going to go into some spoiler territory, but to have the callback of Kratos and Pandora's conversation about hope and what hope can do for the world, and to see where Kratos was then during that time period of his life versus where he is at now, to see where he is now and like dive into the fact that it's taken him so many other journeys for him to finally understand what she was saying. That joint was beautiful. The combat experience, jumping right back into it all, but having it be a challenge, more of a challenge than it already was awesome. Some people online were calling it cheap, that they've locked a great story behind, permadeath stuff. And I'm like, bro, it's a challenge, bro. And it was a fun as hell challenge too. So God of War Valhalla is my favorite gaming experience of of 2023. You know, I love Jedi Survivor, but Valhalla that did something, bro. What did you think of Valhalla? I know you had to love it. You had to love it.
I did love it, bro, because it's Santa Monica Studios doing what they do best. This is the reason why God of War Ragnarok was my game of the year for 2022. You know, it's like they know how to do a story, but to me, it's also you got to pause and realize we are in a gaming industry obsessed with this type of a game, a roguelike type of approach to a game on some Hades, where you have to go into a room and fight a certain set of enemies to progress the story, and it's all procedurally kind of modulated and changed. I think like I like that this brought a fresh narrative take to that mechanic. If Battle Royales did this better, then Battle Royale wouldn't feel old at this point. I think it's old at this point. So I look at it and I'm like, man, not only did they pack a beautiful development story for Kratos, something that is this is how an epilogue should be. You know what I mean? But they also, it's a game of this is how this should be. That's what it is. It's a game DLC of this is how it should be. This is how DLC should be. This should be free. And it should be jam-packed. This is how it should be. Roguelike mechanics in a game. Not just empty rooms where I get to play with your game's mechanics alone, but I want narrative. Give me some story. Give me something that progresses my connection to this character, that reminds me of the journey I went on with them. And then this is how this should be. Look at how they were able to go back to all of the other games, which we have had connections in the game to the original God of Wars. And some people have complained about the connection to who this current Kratos is. He's soft now. He's soft now. No, bro, he's not soft, bro. He's evolved. This is a DLC of evolution and a series of evolution, and Santa Monica knows what they're doing. They're pushing the game genre toward evolution. They're pushing their pens, the writing of these games toward evolution. I love who Kratos becomes by the end of the story. It just was great, bro. I could go on and on about this. Such a beautiful DLC, and yeah, it's up there, man. Same way that Cyberpunk Phantom Lit. Come on, man. DLC went crazy this year.
All right. Well, you know, let's move into some of the multiplayer aspects of 2023, bro. You know, there are two significant, for me, multiplayer journeys that I went through this year. And number one is Fortnite. It's always been Fortnite, bro. Since Fortnite has dropped, it's been Fortnite. Fortnite did a lot this year, bro. They had their fourth chapter of their game, and then they said, let's take it back. Let's get all eyes on the game again. Let's do Fortnite OG. And they brought back numbers. It brought back good times, good experiences, old friends wanting to play. And then they dropped chapter 5. New map, new mechanics, very interesting, right? New animations, some good, some bad. New game modes, Lego Fortnite, their Guitar Hero mode, you know, updates to save the world, kind of. All I'm trying to say is Fortnite is doing things so different than a lot of these other companies out here. Positive, negative, their ups and downs. They're trying to do something building, and they're trying to do something that has never been seen before. So I'm gonna give it its due. I'm gonna give the credit that it deserves. Fortnite, after 2023, I'm gonna be honest, bro. There might need to be some serious discussions, not joking around or maybe not. No, I think there needs to be some serious discussion about whether or not Fortnite is one of the greatest games of all time.
It's crazy, man, because on a technical level, what they're doing and how they're executing their vision, and seeing Donald Mustard post of a photo from years ago of their plan on how they were going to take Fortnite and make the BR concept and add a musical concept, add a survival concept, all these different dynamics. It's cool to see them actually execute that vision. A lot of respect. There's not a lot of other. There's just not. I talked about Call of Duty this episode. Yeah, but Call of Duty is just making more Call of Duties. They're doing something unprecedented in gaming currently. You know what I mean? The cross-plat gameplay on top of it all. This was one of the games that I call the silencer of the console war. This is one of the games that brought Xbox and PlayStation players together in a way that was very brand new, to the point where now it's just normal. I think that this played a role in that. It was an ambassador for that concept. So I can agree, bro. I think it is one of the greatest games of all time. I'm not saying it's not. But then when I say greatest game of all time, I hesitate, because the fact that I can shoot you as Martin Luther King and you're Goku is still kind of wild to me sometimes. I don't know how I feel about that.
There ain't no Martin Luther King skin though, bro.
You know what I mean, man. It's a joke, but you know what I mean, man. I could shoot you as freaking Punisher, and you could be Raphael the turtle, bro. Like, it's like that concept is kind of wild, and I can understand the people who aren't with it saying it's a kid's game. Can respect that. Can hear you. I mean, I can't respect some of the other stuff you're saying. Like, you can say that without respecting what they've done. But I see both sides, is what I'm trying to say. So, best multiplayer of the year, oh, from a accomplished standpoint, I guess. But, oh man, that's actually pretty hard, bro. Multiplayer. Yeah, I guess I'll just give it to Fortnite. I guess I'll have to.
I mean, besides Fortnite though, there's only one other multiplayer game that feels like it's grabs me in 2023. You know, COD was fun. I played some Phasmophobia with the boys, but then the company kind of reset the progress on it, and it's low-key been dead for us since we started Sons of the Forest. But no other game has taken over multiplayer, both for myself as well as the internet, it seems, but Lethal Company. Lethal Company, buying that game for $10, I've had some of the most fun I've had in so long playing games off of, I believe maybe even a solo dude off of Steam. Me and my friends, we've been up in there, vanilla and modded, having a blast, having scares, laughs at each other, laughs together. It's ridiculous how much fun we've been having off of Lethal Company. So arguably I may have even had more fun on Lethal than on Fortnite, but Fortnite, it just covers so much mass. It covers so much land that, yeah, Fortnite is going to take it for me. But Lethal, ooh, if you haven't played Lethal, you got to play Lethal.
I've seen a lot of gameplay videos online about it, so that's definitely something I need to do with the boys. But yeah, multiplayer wise, I'm still going to give it a 40. And if I weren't going to give it a 40, I probably would give it a COD, to be honest with you. And as much as I don't like what COD has done as a system as well, as a system that continues to bring high level gunplay and multiplayer, and I'm still able to get into lobbies with my boys, and now I'm on maps for Modern Warfare 2, so it's taking me back 10 years ago, 15 years ago, to how it used to feel to play till 5 o'clock in the morning, even though I had school the next day. Like, I'm still getting those vibes from Call of Duty to this day. So that nostalgia factor does play a role in some of my best multiplayer moments. So if I could split it and just say Fortnite and COD, I would say that. But if I had to give it to one, I'd say Fortnite.
All right. Well, we've discussed what we've needed to discuss, and it's time for the Cuzzo-Op Awards. You know, our small little podcast dropping Game of the Year awards. What? Why not? We've got a few categories that we want to drop awards for, just for our history of Cuzzo-Op, our agreements coming together to actually agree together. What? And we want to start with Game of the Year. And Cuzzo-Op's Game of the Year award goes to...
It's Star Wars Jedi Survivor. That's going to be our game, man. And I don't know how many other people will have that same opinion, and I'm okay with that. That's even more so why I'm happy with it. If you haven't played it, highly recommend playing it now. It'll run smoother than it did when we played it. It's a story that's worth it. If you haven't played Fallen Order, go back, play Fallen Order first, then play this game. This is shaping up to be one of the strongest trilogies we've gotten in gaming, in my opinion. So I love what they did this year. Cameron Monaghan, thank you so much for your performance in this game. Y'all did your thing. EA, you got a rare W from us. You got a rare freaking W from us. Don't take it lightly, bitch.
Damn. I'm going to move forward to Performer of the Year. IV already mentioned him. It's Cameron, Cuzzo-Op Performer of the Year for video games. He acted his ass off. emotionally with his voice deliveries as well as his facial just emotion that you could just feel it on the screen. He was being torn up in there, and it was great. So Cameron, performer of the year for Cuzzo-Op. Multiplayer game for Cuzzo-Op, it's gonna be Fortnite Battle Royale. We have a whole episode out about Fortnite, and we've already stated some of our reasonings as to why they just are legendary right now in the gaming industry. So Fortnite 2023's Cuzzo-Op Multiplayer Award, DLC and add-on award. Now, I know for a while this was going to Cyberpunk, but God of War Valhalla came through at the end of the year and completely just took it over. So God of War Valhalla is Cuzzo-Op's DLC and add-on 2023 award winner. And then unfortunately for co-op, IV and I, we were slacking on our co-op games this year. We didn't play nearly enough. I think you and I each only have one. We couldn't come to an agreement. And so we have no choice but to expand our co-op games and maybe revise a little bit as we get closer towards the middle of the year. Maybe we'll have an answer for you then. But besides all of that, those are simple Cuzzo-Op awards. You know, Jedi Survivor taking 2, Fortnite grabbing 1, and God of War Valhalla grabbing another. It's been a year of gaming, man. Tap into our episode from last week to hear what games we're kind of looking forward to as this new year begins. And yeah, this was a fun one. I'm going to be very excited for the next year of gaming to come.
Man, what a year. 2023, like we said, was the beginning of this new renaissance. I look at the SAG-AFTRA strike that happened with writers, with actors, and even in gaming. There's been some stuff in gaming that's been put on pause that now we're going to enter into a time back into 2024, beginning of 2025, that I think is going to be another wave of incredible moments. The PS5 is really just starting to get used. The Xbox Series S and X are really for the first time being put to the test after years of being out. And so we're excited. We feel like this is the beginning of a couple of really solid years in gaming. Don't want to set our expectations too high so that we don't get so disappointed, but we really are feeling the energy from the gaming community. Thank you so much for listening to our episode as we look back at 2023. We're excited because this is the first of a series. Next week, we will jump into TV of 2023, and then we will conclude with movies of 2023. Just looking back at 2023, what we liked, what we want to see more of in 2024 will come down the line. But continue to tap in with us and follow us everywhere you listen to podcasts, whether it be YouTube. Subscribe there. Follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. If there's somebody that you know likes looking at what was, send this episode over to them so they can get a recap of what gaming looked like this year. And even if you're just a gamer, if there's a Discord you're a part of, or Reddit, a subreddit that you enjoy sharing good stuff, please, we love the word of mouth sharing, just two dudes talking what they love. And we thank you for tapping into another episode of Cuzzo-Op. And remember, every time you tap in with us, you are always going to find 2 cousins, 1 podcast, and endless entertainment. Have a good one.